Again, happy Mother's Day to you, your mothers, your experience of being mothered, and having the sense to know that the ultimate mother that birthed you into this world is before your biological mother, and that source of mothering, that source of love, that source of giving birth is never not present, never not with you. The purity of the newborn child is so extraordinary, so absolute. But it's the beginning of a tutorial. It's the beginning of a learning how to be in this manifested state of being. And it's fascinating to watch because observing my grandchildren, I'm seeing this incredible panoply of possibilities in their youth, in their childhood, starting to form into doctrine, form into this is who I am, this is what I want, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, this is where the world is taking me. And it's really fascinating because they become more and more and more locked into a very small part of the person I knew when they were little, which was just flowering with possibility. But all of us take all that possibility and we find ourselves moving into this, whatever this is. And it is a form of witnessing the world, filtering the world, conceptualizing the world that is locked into something very small compared to what we entered with. And a part of me wants to reach into my grandchildren and go, but you used to do this and that, and there are all these incredible aspects of being, and where did they all go? And of course, one asks that about everyone we know in a sense. And as we get older, even more so, because all these people that we know who we identify with as a particular form and person, even that starts to go away. And the person who's left in our being, in our lives, is a formulation and then a deconstruction. And that's really what we are observing. But who is observing? In most cases, the observer of this strange, really strange journey that we're on is cognitive. It's the mind. It is the part of us that puts it together, weaves it together, and says, this is what it is. But we don't really know. So we go to other people to get help with knowing what it is. We listen to our parents tell us or guide us or misguide us into the reality of the world because they're just figuring it out as well. So we're on this journey without a lot of directive, without a lot of real clarity. We think we're getting it because we hear this from people and that, and we read books and we see movies and TV shows, and we assemble a sense of the truth of what life is, what it really is about. But it's all cognitive. It's all the mind assembling pieces into some kind of structural form that allows us to be somewhat comfortable or trying to be comfortable. It allows us to find our path through the myriad possibilities of what every moment offers us. But it is a directive all coming from the outer form. And that is problematic because all of you who are listening to me know that this outer form is endlessly changing. You think you have a grasp on it, you think this is how it's all going to unfold, boom, something else happens. Maybe vastly different than when you expected. Maybe your whole world gets upended. Maybe just part of your life gets upended by reality or whatever is happening at any given moment. Maybe you found your source of comfort and ease and pleasure in life, and you're holding on to it for dear life. And then these things like aging happen, the unexpected takes place, and you're like, but, and there's no there's no way to prepare for that, really, to deal with the deconstruction of life, but it is always changing and ultimately deconstructing. So, the great experience of my life, I've had many great experiences, but one of them was meeting a guy named Rudy who offered me a pathway into the inner space of my being, the other part of me, which I used to think of as emotional, a kind of intuitive awareness of emotion and feeling that kind of guided me more deeply into the world around me. But it was still in many ways cognitive, relating to pain, relating to hope, to love, to joy, to misery, and a dialogue with all of that, which was inner, but it still had a big outer manifestation play of the mind. But Rudy kept saying, go deeper, go deeper. And the more I went deeper and the more I took my breath into my heart and my navel chakra, the more I reached inside and asked for help to surrender, to let go, to accept all the varying things one asks for, the roadmap into the depth of being started to show itself. But it was all experienced with a kind of return to the mind analyzing what I saw and knowing what I saw. So the mind was still the dynamic force that took the deeper and deeper experience in my life into a place of mental cognition. That's not where it wants to go. That is not a help, because ultimately this will disintegrate. And if you become my age and my wife's age, Blanche's age, we're watching it happen. We're watching the disintegration of the cognitive self. But what is so fascinating is that as you go deeper inside, you discover the precognitive area that I will call, and I think many teachers will call, knowing. It's not thinking, it's not believing, it is not even intuitive. It is just knowing. But it is a voiceless, still pointed awareness that is capable of immense expansion. But it is wordless. It is thoughtless. It has nothing going on in it other than perhaps a tactile sense of being mothered, of being held, of being cared for. It's not something you can figure out. It's not something that has any limitation, any kind of designation. It is simply this exquisite sense of presence, knowing. And the truth is, the journey into knowing is not taught. My best, deepest part of my spiritual journey began when Rudy died. Rudy was a living presence and a living teacher, and he gave me a map and he taught me what to do. And then he left the world and he said, do it, do the work. That has been the great gift of my life, because I have known always that this is central and crucial. It's not just a indulgence. It's not just a way to escape suffering and try to look for a cognitive understanding of, oh, I get it, it's this or it's that. The world is this kind of spiritual construct. It is none of the above. It just erases all of that stuff and allows you to go down deep into the center of your being and know, and simply know. What does that mean to know? I can't give you the words. I cannot tell you that it is something that you can express in any real verbal sense, but it is present. It is present. And the deeper you go, which means more you let go of the cognitive, and the more you are aware of knowing, you discover something that cannot be translated. It just is. And those people like me who are verbal and try to teach it and try to express it and give it form and all of that are just trying to get your mind and your psyche to let go of your mind and psyche and find what I'm talking about. And the mere fact that I'm talking about it is already problematic because it's already cognating in your mind. And the desire to find this thing is an absurdity, of course, because it's always there. It's never not there. And you are always, in some subtle, quiet way, aware of it because you are it. It's never not present. And if you do not sense its presence, the only thing I can tell you is use the roadmap, use the exercise, go inside and breathe deep, do the work, and find your way back into the core sense of self and allow that to express itself in the outer world so that knowing becomes not just a way of analyzing life and figuring things out, but a way of witnessing its truth. And that's what you want. It's what we all want. It's what every human being wants, even if they can't express that idea. And I will say, most people I've met in my life have no clue to what I'm talking about. You are a, if you will, rare group of people who have gathered together and assembled here in a group, but also on your own to find some idea, some sense of what is this? What mothered me? What brought me into the world? What is the core reason for learning how to function in this space? And why, when I'm starting to get it and figure it out and having a good life and having a career and making money and doing all these things and building a house, why am I in the process of getting all this about to lose it? Why is it all going to go away? What is the reason for any of this at all? And your mind can give you answers, and you can read people who've talked about it and wrote books about it. And, you can go, okay, I get it. That's what it is. That's what it is. But the reality is, if you want to listen to me talking, none of the above. None of the above. It simply is. It simply is. And you are the isness of it all. You are that. And it's not like you as a person can own that because that separates it. Not there's a you and an it, and that together is it, although that is in some way true. It is totality itself, and it has no limitation in terms of mind and thought and grasping the truth of anything. It is allowing all of that to be at play and to let it go and to be free, if you will, of your mental thoughts. Rudy called the mind, you've probably heard this, the slayer of the soul. Not that it's going to kill you. The mind gets in the way. It just gets in the way. So if you can bring yourself into a stillness of still pointedness, a kind of breathing into the moment, what starts to happen is the moment expands into this enormous depth of truth, of being, and you experience source and manifestation as the totality, as one thing. And that's where Rudy's idea of if it's in front of you, it's yours. And I've added that word, if it's in front of you, it's sacred. I can only tell you the knowing is not limited to an inner space, a cloud of awareness. It is brought forth into every single instant of your life, from brushing your teeth to making coffee to flushing the toilet. It is all one totality, and it is of the same exquisite essence that you understood, if you will, or felt or knew when your mother held you the moment you were born. That, whatever that is, if you can relate to it, if you can remember it, and in a way you can, because, like I say, the depth of spiritual awakening is to a kind of mothering that is infinite. You begin to feel the embrace, the hug, the warmth of your very essence. that your manifestation in the world is not a separation from oneness. It's not a punishment or a kicking out of you from the joy of being. It is an entry into the manifested being itself. Being brought into manifested being is an exquisite thing. It's an exquisite experience. You don't come here by mistake. You don't come here as though you were tossed out of the well of being. You come here to touch and witness and serve, if you will, the source of all of this. As I spoke, I think a couple of weeks ago, we are the we are the manifested form of joy and beauty and kindness in the world. But of course, we're also the source of pain and suffering and evil. So yin yang, day, night, good, bad, all of that stuff is all part of the totality. But it does seem that there is a choice that can be made in the manifested life that we live to go toward light and joy or toward darkness, misery, and suffering. Maybe it's a choice that seems mental, maybe it's an emotional experience, but whatever it is a choice that people make or a choice that they don't make and are just led into by their unconscious perceptions and feelings and experiences. But ultimately, if you're lucky, you gain control of how you proceed in the world. And then, and this is really important, you start to begin to know what you are, who you are, why you are here, not through your mind, not through your emotions, but just as a presence, an awareness. And it never, ever left you. You left it. You left it in terms of figuring out life. Like my grandchildren, all the possibilities were there and they chose this one, this one, this one. And their friends in school told them, take this one. And your teacher said this, and your mom and dad said this. And you became this locked in thing. But you didn't start out that way. And you aren't really that locked in. And as you really start to let go of the form and the locked in person, as you go deep inside and you really breathe into totality, you start to remember, oh, I am that. I am that. And that's an exquisite awareness. And it shapes how you live in the world. It shapes how you accept life, how you, if you will, bow down to the sacred of whatever is arising at any moment. It's not by chance, it's not a mistake, it's the real thing always in front of you, and you are either there embracing and serving it or fighting it and limiting yourself into tighter and tighter knots of personality and persona, and you are having a bad time. A lot of people have a bad time. I see that more than not. And, you know, you can want to help them. You can help them, actually, not by talking like I am, not by trying to give them, like, you should read this book or get that teaching. It's just being the source of knowing in the world. And that means being present in the world without mind, without manipulation, without pointing, without anything, just being this vast, if you will, ocean, or even just a drop of the ocean in the world we're living in. Be that. Be that. You are that. That's the tricky thing. You already are that. But the fact that you have limited yourself to this structure that you built for so long and go, this is what I am, and oh my God, I'm so unhappy and I'm so worried and what's going to happen to me, that is your drama that you have manifested over the course of however many years. And all I can tell you is take a breath, ask for help to let go, surrender. But it might also mean, and this is important, accept this limited, miserable, conflicted, or maybe beautiful, sweet self that you are, but don't think it's the totality. It is an expression. It is not the ultimate. It is a part of the ultimate, and you are a great servant of the ultimate. But the more you surrender and let go, you start to watch the unfolding of something miraculous happening all the time. What's happening with me, I'll use that as an example, is my mind is going. I'm watching it. I'm watching it. the stupid little things like, do I brush my teeth now, or do I mean, did I forget, do I take my pills first? Like the little stupid things that are just ritualized. I suddenly don't remember little stupid things. And I'm going, wow, wow, that's odd, and all of this stuff. And Blanche and I together, it's like we smile at it because it's so funny to see the dance of loss, of things falling away, things that you take as foundational of how to live your day, how to tie your shoes, all of that stuff will be taken away. But what will not be taken away is this knowing, this knowing. It's knowing that, oh, I'm watching it taken away. I'm watching it evaporate. I am watching it leave. I, and then that I becomes what is this I? What is this? What is this I that is watching all this stuff, that's witnessing this movie of you? What is it? You can give it names, but if you give it names, you've separated from it. If you give it names and say, well, it's this and it's that, you're back in the mind. Let that go. You won't know. You will arrive at the teaching of Blanche's mother, talking of mothers today, whose final teaching to me, which I've shared with you multiple times, but I will tell you, it's a great teaching. There are no words for it. It's kind of like a question mark. Who knows? But in truth, it's like there is no way to have any kind of cognitive awareness of what this is. Let it go. It's not about who knows, it's about knowing itself. And knowing itself is an awareness that will come to all of us if you are willing to let go of the cognitive limitation on that and be your total self, be your whole self, which you are anyway. Yes, in the world you have to function as a entity who has, A plus in this and D minus in this other class. Some of you are good and bad and different things, and you learn about all that in the course of life. But that person is a construct. The reality is you are the knower of all of it. You are that. You are that. I am that. And that's what we're here for. And when you sit in this class, it's just like a reminder, a little bit cognitive, unfortunately, but also a direct, energetic touch with, attunement to knowing. Nonverbal, simple, yes. Awareness of what you are and who you are and what gave birth to you. And what gave birth to you is not something you're going to be able to hold in your brain. You simply will experience it as this unbelievable, in a way, mother's hug. That's the joy of Mother's Day, being born into the physical world, being manifested at all is so extraordinary. And this thing that gives life to everything is, if you will, the mother, and because of non-duality, the father of us all. Enjoy. Questions? Yeah, cognitive. Um, you don't have to have questions about any of this, but if you ever do, you're always welcome to call me. But I will tell you, based on the the fading away of everything, I may not be around, but my not being around may be as great a thing for you as Rudy's departure was for me. Because clearly, guys, you're on your own in the one sense, but in the greater sense, what is your own is infinite and eternal. Find that. You don't need me. You don't need a teacher. You don't need a book. You don't need to sit here and listen to me talk or even do the meditation. You need to find your way into that space, into that profound knowing, and let it just guide your life. And it will. It will. It will absolutely guide your life moment to moment to moment to moment. And it doesn't have to be cognitive at all. It's just going, okay, yep, okay, yep, okay, I'll go this way. Okay, I'll do that. Okay, I'll pick that up. Whatever it is, tiny stuff. Believe me, it's holy. It's extraordinary. Every minute, every second is part of a holy, extraordinary journey that you are on for whatever reason. You don't come into this world by chance, trust me. You're not here by mistake. This is a amazing symphony of possibilities, and you are part of it. And every note and every chord is astounding. Okay. Have a great day. Have a great week. Um, one quick announcement, because some of you wanted to know this. Last year, I did a kind of a retreat in Big Indian, where Rudy's shrine is. And I'm going to do another one this year. You can call it a pilgrimage or a retreat, but it will be on Sunday, August 25th. For any of you who want to make plans or think about that, it's the last, it's almost the last, next to last Sunday in August. And you're welcome to come. And there are hotels and places to stay and restaurants, and it'll just be one day. And you don't have to come. God knows you're all on the West Coast, so that's probably not a good idea. But uh, just know that it will be there. And if you feel like making a journey, that would be an interesting moment to do it.